play the video for just a little bit. Oops, didn't mean to go there. Let's see here. I always mess this up.
We are shaped by our emotions. Spread your wings and soar with freedom's blessings. Overcome your fears and keep calm in the face of the shadowy dangers ahead. Cherish the blissful memories that you've made with your friends.
Strange things that happen here, stranger would.
Folks, this is Marcus Crawford doing the flying for this video here.
I'm like, damn, that's good.
Yeah.
And those birds are all paid actors in the video.
They're robots.
Marcus, I didn't see your ID number on the side of that drone flying by.
Yeah, it's right there on the back.
That's Johnny's pool down there. He forgot to put the liner in right.
Hey.
Anybody need to make a call? Does anybody remember phone booths? Johnny, you remember phone booths?
Oh, yeah.
I do. Well, of course, but yeah.
Phone booths and beepers, yeah.
Folks, this is video actually downtown Hammond, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hammond, Louisiana.
Yeah. This is the Hammond Mountain Range.
Ooh. No lie.
You need your optical avoidance sensors for some of these shots, Marcus.
Nothing to it with this little guy. Nothing to it.
A little waterfall. You need your ND filter to get the motion blur there.
Well, you didn't watch Ted Nemeth's video then, did you?
There's Johnny and I surfing, catching some hanging 10 there.
We're looking for that Nano Plus.
Yeah.
There it is.
And
there it is.
Welcome in, folks, to the DroneNation show for October 2nd, 2023. Is titled "The DJI Mini 4 has landed," and this is, this is. I think I still have some echo here.
Couldn't hear it here, Ron. So you're good
that's
here.
Me somewhere. Sorry, folks. I've got something running in the background here. Let me get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, while Ron's doing that, I want to welcome in Steve Powell, our guest this week. Steve, it's just I'm just tickled to have you here and to bring your videography and photography expertise to us.
No lie, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I've been dying to get on Ron's show for a while, but he just hasn't asked me. Like,
well, I mean,
I just go in. I like all his videos, leave nice comments. I'm trying to butter him up, and nothing. Right?
Steve's agent asked way too much more than we can afford. So we had to get him on a. He had a discount this week for show appearances.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Just for your birthday,
folks. Sorry for the faux pas at the beginning there. That ran to the next video after the DJI video. But so welcome in October 2nd, DJI Mini 4 show here. Before we get into too much here, I want to wish a happy birthday to our friend Scott Nadeau, and that Ron Brown guy. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Okay. Right. You ready, Johnny? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ron Brown.
Happy birthday to you, Ron.
Yay.
Hey, special day.
Chris Hope even called me up and sung to me on the telephone.
Oh, did he really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
so,
yeah, because he had to read the words though. Dennis helped him out with the words.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
all
Dennis
kidding
is good
aside,
words.
Ron, you do so much for this community, and you know you're kind of a icon in the world of consumer drones. And happy birthday, and we appreciate
birthday.
everything you do.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to thank everybody that reached out to me. Whatever phone calls, texts, Facebook, for all the happy birthdays. Say love you all. Thank you for the support. And I was hoping Scott and Dew and I would both get a Pocket 3 for our birthday today, but I'm still waiting for that UPS guy to show up with that Pocket 3. But before we go too far here, I want to go around the panel. And we're going to get everybody introduced here. And then we're going to go right into DeMarco Moore's Fearless Monday Night Football prediction here. But John's got to do it for him tonight since DeMarco's actually coaching tonight. He has contact with all these coaches. That's why he
is coaching, yeah.
But we'll go right to Marcus Crawford first. Marcus, how are you doing? How was your week?
Doing good. We had a kind of a rainy weekend, so didn't get much flying in over the weekend. But right before that, last Friday, flew this guy for the first time out at the Snake River Canyon. Met Tanya Gale of Tanya Gale Adventures out there. We did some flying, and the day before that, 107 Drones. Barkley was in town, and Barkley and I went again out to the canyon and flew the Air 3 a little bit. So it was a good time.
Video. If anybody would like to see Marcus's video in the Mini 4 Pro, I have it linked to the chat under item number 6. Actually, I have 2 number 6s. It's the second number 6 that has the link to his video.
6A or 6B, whatever.
6B, yeah. So it sounds like you had a pretty good week before that rain set in.
I did, but the rain gave me a chance to do a little editing.
That's always good. So we talked earlier. Poor Steve has been on the show for a while, but wanted to get him back on. Put out a great video just this weekend, and we're going to talk about it in a little detail later on. But also, the mini 4s come out, and Steve's kind of been a mini drone person for a while. We started out with Spark, which wasn't a mini drone as far as 250 grams, but it was a mini drone as far as being compact to put in your backpack. So Steve's been very interested in mini drones. So Steve, how you been doing since the last time we had the show, which is a long time?
Good. I mean, it was it was a busy week for me this week too. I got a couple of videos out, and that just takes me a long time to put together. I'm a really slow editor and kind of meticulous about it, so it does take me a lot of time. So that was kind of my week. I don't think I flew at all this week. It was just made a couple of videos, right? But yeah, it's been a kind of a choppy summer. It's been a weird thing. We've been doing some house renovations, and we've had weird weather. We've had, my vacation I went on in the summer. Of course, that's when all the wildfire smoke rolled in, and then it's just. I mean, sometimes it can be to your advantage. You can get some kind of neat shots with it. Other times it's just ugly. It's just nothing to look at. So yeah, it's kind of been a mixed bag this year, but we've had great weather in the fall here. So I'm hoping we're going to get some nice, autumn foliage and just start rocking those October shots, right? So
when do your leaves start to change color in your area?
They are now, and it depends on elevation. Like a little bit up the hill from us, they're really going, and down by us, we got kind of half are still green, half are kind of changing, right? So it's kind of a really pretty time of year. I love it. I love fall. Your
weather cooling off a little?
Not bad, actually. What did we get today? A little cooler today, but we're getting like 20 Celsius all week. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's probably like 80 degrees or something, maybe.
Well, I'm doing it in my head. No, that would be if you double it and then add 30, that would make it 70, I guess.
Okay, 70. I mean, that's nice, right?
That's great temperature. Yeah, great. Yeah, especially drone flying, doing stuff outdoors.
Oh, it's perfect. Perfect, right? Yeah.
Johnny would love to see a 70-degree grade down there in Hammond, right?
It was 63 yesterday morning and 64 this morning. So yeah, a little bit. It's hot during the day, but still, hey, it's all good. Great weather. Great time of year to fly.
Get the coats out down there in Hammond, huh?
So you got to tell us what you've been up to, Johnny. You've been flying that Avata, I know.
I did. I just went through 2 batteries. Of course, did the update with the Air 3. Loving that return to home feature there, and of course the landing. And then also got it to bind. Finally got it to bind yesterday with the RC motion 2 controller. Got to fly the Air 3 like that with the goggles. So that was pretty interesting. Had a little trouble at first, but it went good. I think, I don't know if something wasn't updated. And I know it's very easy on the Mini 3 Pro. And I even took the Mini 3 Pro out and, got it to bind real quick and was having trouble. But hey, I did reach out to DJI tech support. And I mean, they answered right away and told me to check a few things, but it did bind and had fun flying it.
Hey, Johnny. So before, I don't want to derail you, Ron, but I'm curious. I'm curious about Johnny's experience with the Air 3 and the Mini 3 using the goggles. And you're using the motion controller, right?
Yes.
So how different is that than the Avata? Does the drone perform differently? What do you see on the screen when you're looking in the screen? Do you still get the little circle in the middle like you do?
You do. And I think with the Avata, you automatically are flying lower and all. And then, with the Air 3, you instantly go higher. But it's just the way you fly that drone. And, I think if you get a little crazy with that Air 3, I wouldn't want to crash my Air 3 just trying to, stay a foot off the ground. I mean, I don't really see a lot of need in it. I know, Morgan, we talked about it a little bit before. Some people like the goggles, and it's a different experience. But it's just something I had to do because I started out to bind it, and I had a little trouble. So I had to get it to work at least.
So Johnny, my next question is, so how does the drone react? In other words, the Avata with that motion controller, it moves very quickly. Does the Mini 3 and the Air 3, are they the same?
To me, it's very, very responsive with the Motion 2. Okay. I mean, I really don't have any problem at all. And of course, the Mini 3 Pro, same way. I think it's very responsive. Some people like the Avata with the sticks. I haven't flown with the sticks at all yet. I like the Motion 2 controller. But yeah, I was very surprised. It was very agile. The Air 3. I mean, the Air 3 is an awesome drone.
Hey, Johnny, a question, the kind of a reminder for me: when you fly the Air 3 with the goggles and Motion 2, you still have the advantage of the full omnidirectional optical avoidance.
Yeah,
you fly that way. Okay.
Yeah, if you leave it. Yeah.
So you do have kind of some security.
So that kind of brings up a point. So one of the things with the Avata is you can go through some of those small gaps.
Yeah.
You still wouldn't be able to do that with the Mini 3 or the Air 3 with OA on, right? Because you've got that kind of bubble around the drone.
There's no need to be doing that, but hey,
Right.
Well, we talked about this when the capabilities first came out for the Mini 3 Pro. The one advantage for people in extremely bright, sunny climates is they could still see, they wouldn't have to worry about not seeing the screen by using the goggles. Just to fly even normal camera drone style, you still would be able to see it no matter how bright it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just easier with the control in your hand, and the Motion 2 controller's got a lot of buttons to do certain things, and the zoom in and all that. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of gimmicky to me, but hey, it is fun, a different experience.
Hey, Scott Nadeau, Johnny wants you to make a video about it. There you go. You got your video assignment for the week.
Yeah.
Anyway, didn't mean to derail you, Ron. I just was curious.
Well, while we got Johnny here, we're going to go right to. He's got the important job tonight. We always do the football picks on Monday night because we're on the same time as Monday Night Football, but we don't want to really miss who's going to win the game. So DeMarco picks it, so you don't have to watch because DeMarco is almost always right. And Johnny has his picks.
The game started already, but DeMarco said take the Seahawks minus the 2, and you will be cashing your check in tomorrow morning.
There you go. And Johnny, if 7-0 Seattle, so that pick is holding up right to this point. So
I'm not sure DeMarco's on a hot streak here this beginning of the year here.
He's on fire. So, okay, a couple little stories that I know you're all here to hear about the Mini 4 Pro, but we got a couple little stories, and then we'll jump right into it. The Fimi X8 Pro, which we've talked about on the show on and off for the past couple months, kind of was announced in the spring, but now it's just finally starting to ship to consumers. It's finally shipping, which is good news, of course. But friend of the show, Ross Langdon over there in Brisbane, Australia, he found some major issues with the video quality in the auto settings. It's like it's way overexposed. And he has a couple of videos out. In the second video, he even goes into the manual settings and he's trying to correct it a little bit. But he wasn't happy at all with these settings or whatever. He said, especially like a newbie would buy this drone and they wouldn't know what to do. And, and the video quality, just isn't there, especially for a drone that has the pro name on it. And for instance, it does photos, of course, but it doesn't even take raw photos. And almost all professionals use some sort of a raw photo workflow. So a little bit disturbing. I mean, now the drone flies really well. And Ross points out it has a feature set like the application, almost second only to DJI or whatever. But did anybody else have a chance to look at that video?
I did actually, and big surprise. I've got the 3 predecessors to that.
I'm laughing at Langdon Norris comment.
That's and you know what? My comment is going to be exactly almost what Lon is saying. Hey, big surprise! A Fimi drone has a camera issue. They're always about 5 steps behind what we're used to. So that's no big surprise. But the other thing to keep in mind is it's a $450 drone too. So you're going to expect, you're going to hold it. I think the people that are buying that drone may not expect the kind of video quality that we're used to with DJI and Autel.
Johnny, did you get a chance to see it yet?
I saw it pop up on a feed, but I didn't watch it. I mean, I'm kind of like Lon. It's not surprising, but no, I did see it pop up, but I haven't watched it.
Hey, congrats to Bill. His Mini 4 arrived today. Congrats, Bill. So, Steve, did you get it? Do you follow the Fimi drones at all or read anything about them? Did you?
No.
Yeah. They're like they're kind of a bargain drone, coming out of China. And some people, they have their following. They do.
Yeah, well, it's a price range. It's the thing. It's a bargain drone.
But I also know where you can get one for $339. A really nice drone that flies good.
Yeah, a DroneNation deal today.
No, I'm just saying, like a Mini SE. So
yeah. Oh yeah, true.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, the Fimi's more full featured, but
okay. So Johnny just made a point, and I don't want to miss it. Is if what I'm interested in is a stabilized video camera drone, the little DJI Mini 2 SE, the video quality on that, even though it's only 2.7K, is heads and tails above what a drone like that Fimi produces. So it's all in what you want. If you're looking for a bunch of bells and whistles and intelligent flight modes, and you don't mind lesser quality video, that Fimi drone might be for you. Yeah. But if you're looking for a flying camera that's going to get you good stabilized video, buy that little $339 DJI Mini 2 SE.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably a wise suggestion there, fellas.
Well,
let's get off the Fimi here.
Let's let Steve make his point.
My first worry about those other drones would be like support. If you have any trouble, like, are you going to get any support with those guys, right? If you can get one of the cheap minis, DJI is probably going to support you for at least that warranty period. Absolutely. And there's a lot of users out there, a lot of community. So it's tough to beat that mini line, even like those like you say, Marcus, those Mini 2s and SEs and those stuff, right? For an entry level drone.
See, Stephen, that's a great point, because I reached out on Twitter yesterday, like I said, to DJI support, and they had 2 or 3 responses within. I mean, it's amazing, So the support is there. So
yeah. And Steve, Fimi support goes like this: if you say I got a problem with the drone, I want to send it back, Fimi says, okay. You pay return shipping all the way to China. You take it down to your local post office, and it usually comes out to $207 to send a $400 drone back.
That's exactly right.
So, I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yep.
I mean, some people, the lucky ones in life, they buy a Fimi. It works perfectly. Whatever they tell you about how they saved all this money from buying DJI, but they're the lucky ones. So. Okay, let's move on to story number 4 here. The DJI Mini 4 started shipping out to customers last week. Some got as early as Wednesday. Marcus, were you one of the Wednesday, people, or you Thursday?
Oh no, I didn't get mine until Thursday. Yeah, that's the day Barkley was here. I got it on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know our friend over in Spain who was on our launch party show, Sean the Drone. He ordered on Monday and got his on Tuesday.
Sean Matthews, yeah, and he's been pumping out Mini 4 videos like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people in the community got theirs before the end of the week, and I want to give DJI a big shout out. I mean, a few years ago they were kind of slow in maybe getting these new drones shipped out, but this year, the last couple of drones, the Air 3, this one, did you quick on Mavic 3 Pro also, Marcus?
I'm trying to remember that. Yeah, it came pretty quickly within a few days, maybe 3 or 4 days, Ron. So acceptable.
So the point is correct that DJI is really on top of getting these new drones shipped out this year.
And let me add, I always order direct from DJI. I know a lot of people go order from B&H Photo or from Best Buy, etc. But I always order directly from DJI.
Yeah. Well, you did. You remember you used to do other things.
Well,
remember we were ordering the Mini 1 and you and Bill were ordering from other companies. I stuck an order from the mothership DJI, and I got mine days after you guys did.
Rub it in, Ron. Just rub it in some more.
Hey, it's his birthday. He can rub it in today.
Yeah, not allowed here. But no, I'm rubbing that you guys wisely ordered from somebody else and got your drones faster. Well, remember the Mini 1? I got mine much later than you guys did when you guys ordered from somebody else.
What I will say, though, that one of the advantages to me to ordering direct from DJI is you get that 1% rebate, right? Yeah. It adds up.
Yeah.
And no tax if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
There you go.
So you just brought up the point, Steve. So in Canada, you'd have what, a value-added tax added on to if you ordered direct from DJI?
I honestly can't remember if I paid tax on it, because we have 2 layers of taxes. We have like a provincial tax and then a federal tax. Oh yeah. So that would be based on the province I live in. That would be 12% added on top. But the biggest pain right now is the Canadian dollar is so low. So I pay 35% more to get, it's all in US dollars, right? So our dollar's at like 76 cents or 72 cents or something compared to the US dollar. So that's painful. Pay a huge premium. Yeah.
That being said, Steve, did you consider ordering the Mini 4 Pro?
What do you think? I'll let you can guess.
You considered it, and you went back and forth a couple of times, and you ordered it.
I did order it, actually. Yeah.
Oh,
it's funny. It wasn't even on my radar. Like, honestly, wasn't even on my radar. I was kind of annoyed. I felt it was too soon. And then I did a video about it after it came out, because I don't really follow rumors. And I did a video and I started reading all about it. And I'm like, yeah, actually, this is pretty impressive. It actually, to me, it's almost like that should have been the drone. That should have been the first Pro Mini, right? But yeah, I know how to do consideration. I get it. But it's pretty, that's like, to me, like the Air 2S was kind of that Goldilocks drone of the airline. I feel like the 4 Pro is like the Goldilocks version thus far of the Mini Pro line. It's just, how are they going to top that next year?
Yeah, I mean, because basically what they did is they brought everything from the Mavic 3 and the Air 3 down and put it in the Mini 4 Pro. It's got all the same feature set.
It's unreal. Like I could have, maybe I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much here, but like, I think what they had Mini SE, Mini 2, Mini 2 SE, Mini 3 Pro, Mini 3, Mini 4 Pro now. Most of those are still on for sale. I could have skipped. I could have gone right to the Mini 2 and the Mini 4 Pro, and you would have had the best of that whole lineup. I mean, the other ones in between, I mean, it depends on your upgrade cycle. The other ones in between are great drones. Like, there's not a bad drone really in the Mini line. Some are better than others, but there's not really a bad one. But yeah, those were the 2 banger drones, the 2 and the 4 Pro, I think.
Steve, did you have the Mini 3 Pro, or you did not have it?
I do have it. Yep.
There
she is.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard thing, Steve. I mean, if you had a Mini 1 or Mini 2 or an SE or whatever, it was an easy upgrade. But if you had a Mini 3, it was an upgrade. But, was it enough of an upgrade to fork out the money again was everybody's dilemma.
I have a list for that, Ron, and I know that's further down in the show.
We will get to this.
Yeah,
Let me jump over to Johnny. I know at first, Johnny, you were a little hesitant about ordering the Mini 4 Pro. Has anything swayed you in the past week? Have you seen anything in the review videos and things like that that maybe have changed your opinion a little bit?
A little bit, I saw the guy out there in Idaho fly that thing over this canyon, so that was pretty cool. But no, and I think Steve hit on a point. It seemed like guys we always, and Marcus and Ron and Steve, everybody kind of says the same thing: it's too quick, the price is too high. They didn't. It's only small increments, but it's not that. They always top the last drone they built. But I think I think that my next step would maybe sell the Mini 3 Pro and move up to the Mini 4 Pro. So
I'll give you $50.
Hey. That'd be a down payment.
I'll think about it for 5 seconds and so on. But so that's the big, again, the big thing is whether it's worth it. And actually Steve, we did a lot of polls out on our social medias, Facebook and YouTube and so on. And this is say a week to a couple weeks before it came out. And the reaction was pretty negative with most of the pollers saying they weren't interested. They weren't going to buy this drone. The same, like John just said, people saying it came out too soon. So there was a lot of negativity about this Mini 4 Pro a couple weeks back.
Well, and like I said, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, it's too much too soon. Like, this is too quick. There's too much change happening too rapidly in the Mini line. And but if I wasn't doing YouTube, I probably wouldn't have got it, right? Because it's just not enough, and they're expensive. I don't change out my cameras every year because a new one. I don't change out my phone every year. Like, I've got an iPhone 12. I'm not interested in the 15 because this is still good enough. The Mini 3 Pro is an awesome drone. It's like they nailed it with that one, right? So
that was really the first great mini drone, because the Mini 2, as much as beloved as it was, the camera was the thing that held it back a little.
It was okay, but it's like from Mini all the way up to Mini 2, like, and all those ones in between. It was all the same sensor, same camera, same specs, right? Yeah. Okay, this one does 2.7, this one does 4K, but you're basically looking at the same quality. There was no improvements in quality. Those ones were very incremental. And then boom, they dropped the 3 Pro, and it's like, holy, wow! Like, this is a serious mini drone. Yeah. So well, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure people will change their mind once they start seeing, but they're super expensive, right? These,
So that's a great point, Steve. Think of the leap that they made from the Mini 2 to the Mini 3. They also made that leap in purchase price as well. The Mini 3 was far more expensive. Yeah,
we talked about this before in show, Steve, where a lot of people, especially in the US, when they started buying the mini drones, the Mini 1 and Mini 2, they did not buy it because they're 250 grams, because the US, all it means is you don't have to register and pay $5, but you still fly in the same rules as any other size drone. But they bought it because of that price. It was their first chance to get a DJI drone. It didn't cost them the $800, $900, $1,000. So that got a lot of people into the mini drones. But now the mini drones have moved up into that price category that they were refusing to buy, 3-4 years ago.
Well, and that could be the 250 gram thing maybe it doesn't have the advantage in the United States, but it has an advantage in Canada. Like, under 250 grams, basically you don't have to register it, and basically no rules apply other than don't be an idiot kind of thing, right? So I don't have to keep logs. I don't have to be certified. I'm not really restricted where I fly, as long as I'm not, harming people or aircraft, whatever, right? As long as I'm not being an idiot, you can pretty much fly to anywhere. So for me, it's like, it's frictionless, with a sub 250, just, I don't have limits. And, but then I wanted the capabilities of the bigger drones. And I think with, like in Europe and stuff, they have the similar restrictions to Canada. So they want these capabilities in those kind of drones, right?
So I've made that point many times. I think that is exactly right. That is why DJI, the mini drones, where you could have, with the Mini 2, you could have called it a starter drone. The Mini 3 and the Mini 4 certainly are not that.
No, by no means, right?
Yeah,
they're incredible.
Yeah.
right?
And for us now, finally, the advantage of getting the mini drone now, a 250 gram runner drone, is that now you don't have to sign up for the remote ID. You don't have to register the remote ID. So I mean, they'll still broadcast remote ID, so they'll be able to see the drone, but they won't know it belongs to you.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage now that we did not have a couple years ago when the Mini 1 and 2 came out.
Yeah, that's
I ordered the Mini 3 instead. LOL.
Ron. So I don't want to lose that. You just made a great point, and that is, you buy a DJI Mini drone in the United States, and you think you're not gonna have to worry about remote ID. The drone is going to broadcast remote ID whether you register it or not. So in other words, the FAA says you don't have to register it because it's sub 250, but that drone is still going to be broadcasting remote ID.
Yeah, and people will be able to see the drone, but it won't have that digital license plate on it that says it belongs to Marcus Crawford. It's just like a unnamed drone is flying around.
It's an unregistered drone, which is perfectly legal. But the point of it is, I guess the point that I want to make is, if somebody thought that they were going to get away with flying over a stadium or something like that, they're not, because the authorities would be able to see the drone. They'd be able to see where the ground station is.
Yeah.
All of that.
Right. But they just wouldn't be able to just look at it right away and say, "Oh, that's Marcus Crawford flying that drone."
That's exactly
They would
right.
actually have to go to the ground station to find out
Exactly right.
flying that drone.
Exactly
So
right.
that's kind of different. And I don't know. That's not a big deal to me at all. But
Me
everybody
either.
has their own thoughts on remote ID, and everybody's thoughts is valid or whatever. I mean, nobody's thoughts are right or wrong on remote ID. Your opinion is your opinion. So anyhow, we kind of covered that one. Okay, here's another little thing we'll talk about. Folks in the EU reported the highest they could fly the new Mini 4 Pro was 120 meters, which equals 400 feet in the US, which was an issue for many people, who fly near mountains, that they cannot get higher to go over the mountains because their elevation up the mountain would change from their takeoff point. But I think I've heard from many people over there that this issue has already been resolved by DJI. Anybody else hear anything about that?
Go ahead, Steve.
I've heard that they resolved it.
Yeah. Mixed
I mean, in
reports.
the US, we couldn't even tell because we were never restricted to the 120 meters. Were you restricted at all in Canada?
I mean, it is the legal limit, 120 meters here.
Right.
So, but it doesn't restrict.
Do you have the option to go higher if you're changing elevations, like flying up the side of a mountain?
It's never restricted me. It just tells me when I hit that limit, but it lets me go over it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you're just like us then. Yeah.
Because like I live in a valley, so if I start from my house and I want to go across the river and fly up top of the mountain, I'm already exceeded the limit.
Yeah.
So yeah, you think it would I don't know. It's too bad they don't do like based on topography or something, like above like
that'll
above
be in
ground
like
limit, not
that'll
like
be in the Mini 6 Pro. That's coming in the Mini 6 Pro,
No,
Steve.
That's a great point, Steve. You would hopefully at some point they could give us some kind of a meter or something on the drone that would tell us not our altitude from our takeoff point, but our actual altitude AGL.
Yeah.
So just something that was interesting because I watch a lot of European drone channels too, and you heard that a lot, and it was a very hot topic over there. There also seems to be an issue locating the screen recordings and moving them off the controller RC2 onto your computer, phone, or tablet. And this problem has seemed to be a carryover from the release of the Air 3 in early August. And it seems to be more of a controller issue, the RC2, than it does to be a drone-related issue. I know for just regular people, regular drone flyers, hobbyists, they don't even care about screen recordings. But anybody that's got a YouTube channel or anybody who's trying to demonstrate anything needs those screen recordings to show what's happening on their control. Now, Mark's and I had a conversation about this, and he's had a little bit better luck solving the problem than I do. But I see some of my problem maybe I'm on an all Apple workflow, and he has a Windows computer that maybe has helped him out. Marcus, can you have any thoughts about this issue at all?
Yeah. So what I discovered with the Air 3, just like you said, Ron, with the DJI RC2, is I would plug it in via USB, and I would get a message on the screen that says something like it can't find the files, or it says unable to access is what it said, unable to access. But what I found was when I removed the micro SD card, boom, all of a sudden Windows would find it, and it's in the Android system on the controller. So begs the question, why do you even need that micro SD card on the RC2? Well, the reason is because you can transfer files to it, right? In other words, what the solution for you, Ron, would be you could transfer the file to your micro SD card and then offload it. But when I pull that micro SD card off, Windows finds the movie files, and then I can upload them. So, and I know it's different on a Mac.
Steve, have you had any issues with? Well, you haven't got the Mini 4 Pro yet, right? Yeah. So you haven't run into this yet. Are you on a Windows or are you on an Apple workflow on the desktop?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay, so you may see some of the issues.
Yeah.
I cannot plug my controller into the Mac and have it recognize it as an external hard drive and move files around.
You're talking your RC2 or your RC?
RC2.
RC2.
This is an RC2 issue. Yeah.
I mean, it's all running Android. They'll figure it out. It's probably just a glitch.
The other odd thing about it is that file hides not in the movie file. In the Android hierarchy, it hides in the music file, which is weird. But Windows will find it. But I understand Apple has an issue. But the solution is, if you're in a Mac workflow, go in, transfer that file to the micro SD card, and then you could offload it.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to do that yet either. And a lot of this could be user error on my part also. Johnny, have you tried? Have you?
No, I hardly ever screen record. I hadn't tried it yet, though. No.
Yeah.
I've seen some people said they had problems with it, but I haven't.
Our DroneNation ambassador down there in the Bahamas, Eric Rose, checked in. He says, sorry, he was on a photo shoot tonight. Thanks for coming right in after shoot, Eric. So, we'll keep going. I know Sean the Drone has been covering this on a lot of his videos coming out of Spain on his, screen recording issue, because, of course, he does it all the time for his channel. So he put a video up today where he said he fixed it, but I kind of didn't understand everything he was saying. I got to rewatch that video. But, okay, let's move on to the next story here. Also, there is a debate on social media sites about whether the Mini 4 Pro has a stack sensor or not. And Steve posted a great video on the subject recently. And I got the link in the chat here if you want to go check it out. Steve, we've been talking about this on and off for a couple of weeks now because, we all heard that the Mini 3, the Air 3 that we got had a stack sensor. And that's what made the photos and videos, look better than we expected. Because everybody expected it to not look good because it didn't have the 1-inch sensor. But you get the Air 3 and all of a sudden they look better than 1-inch sensor. So a lot of fell back into, it must be the stack sensor. And that's making up for being a smaller sensor. And then when this drone came out, everybody was hoping for the same thing. And DJI, even on the box or even on their website, they never said that the Air 3 had a stack sensor anywhere written down that you could find out. And the same thing with the Mini 4 Pro. So we kind of, hear this from various people. And it's even to the point now, we know people, Steve, who they've gone to DJI tech support and they've asked them if they had a stack sensor. This is the Mini 4 Pro. And the representative said, no, it does not. Then the next day they do it again. They get a different rep, and that rep tells them it does have a stack sensor. So, there's almost no clarity on all this. And that's kind of what your video is about, right? Can you tell us a little bit about, your thoughts and, what you said in the video?
Well, the video speaks for itself, and I pretty much just relayed exactly what went through my head, So I go to DJI site on Air 3 release day. I go look at all the specs, I look at the camera specs, and then I go to what? Well, I mean, the first thing that's going through my head is like, oh, 1/1.3 inch sensor. Hey, that sounds very similar. Dual native ISO, the pixel size, 48 megapixel, all the specs matched the Mini 3 Pro. So I'm thinking, well, this has got to be the same sensor, right? So of course I go to YouTube, see what the reviewers have to say, and the first thing they go on about is this new stack sensor. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, so I didn't talk about the YouTube influencers who, I mean, you'll go find it, go watch you'll see who said it, and I'm sure that Q came from DJI. And so after hearing this, I go back to DJI site. Well, okay, stack sensor, this is the secret sauce. Where is it in their marketing material? And it's nowhere to be found. So that just made me even more curious, and off I go down the rabbit hole. And yeah, and it was just driving me nuts because, like you say, Ron, like you weren't getting a straight answer from anybody, and there was a lot of confusion in the community, I think, because people just wanted a straight answer. What is this stacked? Is it not stacked? Is it the same as the 3 Pro? Is it not? Is it something different? Is it something actually new? And sort of the missing link for me was finding that DP review article that said they thought it was this OmniVision OV48C sensor or whatever. I look at that and it's matches the specs completely. And then it was sure enough, it says in the documentation, it's a stacked sensor. So this sensor has been around since 2020. This isn't new.
Yeah, let me stop you right there for folks out there. This stack sensor is not something new to drones. They've been around, on cameras and phones, but before they hit drones. So this isn't new technology. It's new technology to drones.
Yeah, and that's just it too. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the original CMOS sensors were, what the build of it was, but then they moved to that backside illuminated. That was kind of the next generation, and then stacked became that next generation. And I think they're just moving the photo sites sort of closer to, the surface, right? So less in between the light and the actual photo sites. Like I'm certainly not an expert on this stuff, so
right.
That's how I kind of understand.
No engineers on the show tonight.
Sorry.
No engineers on the show tonight.
No, not us.
Well, somebody will call me on it, I'm sure. But it's like, yeah. So as we all know, this stuff, like it takes, especially for like processors like CPUs and sensors, like they take years to develop, and like they will develop over time. But like those sort of generational or revolutionary type changes, they don't happen every year. And I think as consumers, like we think, oh, new drone, new sensor, new stuff. Well, no, it's more evolutionary, especially with sensors, right? That such complicated beasts. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, really, the whole thing is just like, I just wanted a straight answer, and yeah, like I say, big rabbit hole. And it was driving me crazy. Yeah. Right. I think DJI, all they had to do is to put a little marketing blurb on their website, and all goes away, right?
Right, because Steve, they went out of their way for years to talk about the 1-inch sensor. Remember, like the Mavic Pro came out, and they went on and on about 1-inch sensors, went on and on about in the Air 2S. So when they have a technology that they seem to be proud of, they go out of their way to let you know it's there.
And that's what I said. And like, but also I said too, like, it's nobody likes, we all know enough to know that a 1-inch, like a bigger sensor is better, right? It is, it's physics, bigger, larger sensors, larger photo sites, better depth of field, typically less noise, all that sort of good stuff. So going from a 1-inch sensor on the Air 2S down to the same sensor as Mini 3 Pro, like that's not going to be palatable, right? People are not going to like that. It feels like we're going backwards, guys. Even though
it was a big pushback on that. It was a big pushback.
Yeah, like even though the quality was better, we got 2 cameras now, we got all this great stuff. It's still smaller sensor. I don't like that, right?
Right.
So it had to be something better. And like I don't know what sensor the 1 inch was. I think a Sony sensor. Was that the one on the Air 2S or something?
Yeah,
Like little bit big
that
sensor.
was that was the talk, but I'm not sure I ever saw that verified.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get that information. I mean, that's their secret sauce. They're not going to let that out of the bag, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Apple, same thing. Apple, I think their iPhones are mostly Sony sensors, and they're not
Well,
changing.
there's only a couple. There's only a couple companies in the world that make these sensors. So you pick.
There's actually
3 or 4
there
companies
are
that could do this
There's quite a few, but not making sort of the higher end ones. Like
and
Sony's
make
one
them
of the
in big
leaders.
bulk. And make them in big bulk is the important thing.
Yeah, like
Hey, Steve, one of the most important points that I thought that you made was about computational photography and videography.
yeah. I mean, that's something I think that came out of an Apple presentation a few years ago, right? That was their big thing, and
Right.
you know, and maybe that is a solution because the sensors aren't evolving as fast as people are sort of demanding better image quality. You know, maybe so they've got to find new ways to pull it out of it, and it's quite crazy what they can do now. You know, honestly, even you with the Apple phones, and I'm sure this is on Samsung phones and all the other guys too, but you change the depth of field or the focus point like after the fact, after the photos were taken. Like what? You know, that's just mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like
and in computational photography, we've seen this for years now where, you know, the old story is, you know, a guy takes a photo over the Grand Canyon with his big camera, whatever. His wife snaps the same picture with the iPhone, and they get a hotel, and her photo looks better.
Well, one of the things that people don't understand is when you take a picture with this guy, it's not taking one picture; it's taking about 10. You talk about HDR, and it's picking whatever's the best, and that's the image that you see. You know, that's part of computational photography.
I see Lon's comment up here about the stack sensor, and you know, he makes a good point. You know, maybe they're just not trying to throw terms around that's going to, you know, confuse people.
The thing is, any YouTube, the YouTube influencers who are getting their drones from DJI is giving them buzzwords and keywords and stuff to say. Like they're telling you, we'd like to see this stuff in your mentions, right? And they're happy to comply because they like to keep their DJI drones coming. I would do the same if DJI sent me a free drone to review it. Of course,
I told you to stay stack sensor in the video, you would do it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, you know, I have my integrity, and I'm not going to go boldly lie if it's not capable of something, you know, of course, right? But I mean, we have to, like, I think, you know, in this day of the influencer and stuff, you have to do a little bit of your own research, and you can't just take everything as being fact, you know, because it is, at the end of the day, DJI is trying to sell drones, and you know, we're being marketed to, right?
Yeah, and another take on this is, you know, we'll go to the Air 3. You know, it doesn't have the one sensor; it's not as good. But when you actually buy the Air 3 and you fly it, and you know, you compare the photos and video that you're getting off the Air 3, somehow with the smaller sensor, for the most part, they look better. I mean, and I'm talking about shooting in full auto. Now, I know you could, you know, if you shot in D-Log with the 1 inch and raw photos, but if you just shoot in standard auto, whatever, I mean, it's just my opinion. Everybody can disagree. That's perfectly fine. But I kind of like the photos and video off the Air 3 better than the Air 2S. Johnny, you have the you've had both drones. You don't have the Air 2S, but you've owned both drones. What's your opinion on the whole?
I think the Air 3 better. The Air 3 is a little bit better in my opinion, but you know, it's a lot of people. I mean, we all see things different, but yeah, I mean, you know, some of the guys that had the Mavic, you know, Mavic 3s said that, you know, the Air 3 was as good as the Mavic 3. So hey, you know, that's very subjective, I guess. You know,
Marcus.
Well, I've got a video coming out soon where I flew the Air 2S and the Air 3 side by side, and I'll let people decide for themselves. They both look really good, and what I did was best to best. So I shot in, what is it, 5.3K? I think that the Air 2S will do, and then 4K on the Air 3. So yeah, we'll just take it. That's the point. Is this? that Air 3 looks so damn good, as does this guy and the Mini 3, quite frankly. 99% of the people watching it on their iPhone are not, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. Now, I see I've got a 32-inch curved Samsung monitor, so I probably see some things often that that others don't, because you're looking on a smaller screen. But it's just impressive the way the technology improves, and the fact that that 3/4-inch sensor on the Air 3, to my eye, can look better than the Air 2S is just stunning. I want to make one more point. I did a test the other day when we're talking about the improvements in the drones. There's also the CPUs in the drones, the processing units that they put in there. It also vastly improves year over year over year. I took the Air 2S out the other day. Well, let me back up a little bit. I've been flying like the Air 3 and the Mini 3 Pro, and of course the Mavic 3, and using the obstacle avoidance and going between trees, and it's just amazing. That APAS just smoothly goes around trees and moves around. I tried it with the Air 2S the other day, and that it struggled. It didn't hit anything, but it would come up to a tree and it would kind of go. It wouldn't decide whether it wanted to brake or whether it wanted to move, and it would very slowly find its way around. So there is a difference, even though it's only a couple years old. The performance of the CPU definitely makes a difference. Anyway,
yeah, and also I think the controller has a more powerful CPU, and you see less lag and better performance with the RC2.
Very true. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, that's a super good point, Marcus. And when I did my Mini 3 Pro review, it's I kind of speculated on that, because the Mini 3 Pro, if you went down to DJI's webpage for the Mini 3 Pro and you went down to the bottom where they have all the caveats. Well, it can't shoot this over 30 frames per second, can't do this over 60 frames per second, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was exactly that. It had a lot of great capabilities, but it just needed a bit beefier of a CPU to tackle more things. And then you went to the Air 3, and I think it was in 51 Drones review of the Air 3. He kind of said with the Air 3, there was no restrictions. There was no, go to the bottom of that webpage. Well, there's no caveats. It can pretty much do all this stuff. There was no limitations. And they beefed up the processor on the Air 3 quite a bit. And that helps them. Maybe that's the same. I don't know exactly what they're using. Is it an ISP or a DSP, like a digital signal processor or image signal processor, to pull more out of the sensor? Those things improved, the CPU improved, so it can do more things, even with the same sensor. It could get more out of it, right? So yeah, I mean, super good point. And even like coming from the Air 2S, I don't know what generation that 1-inch sensor is. That could be a quite an old 1-inch sensor, even though it's bigger, which gives it some better properties from a larger pixel size, blah blah blah. But maybe it's just older generation. Maybe there's been 2 models above that, and so we're seeing even though the 1/1.3 is a smaller sensor, it's just an improved sensor. It's better because it's had more years, of development, that kind of thing. And I have a prediction. I have a prediction for the Air 3S. They're going to go back to a 1-inch sensor and 1 camera, but a more advanced 1-inch sensor.
Okay.
I'm just tossing it out there. So if it happens, you heard it here.
Yeah. So we all got to upgrade. We got to all upgrade again in 6 months.
Dang it!
Yeah.
I know you should have waited, Marcus.
Yeah.
We all know there's going to be something better next year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's just like I think what but year over year, you're not seeing a lot of change. In the beginning, there was like, when things were new, like if you think back to the original iPhone, it was like, oh my gosh, like all this stuff at once. And then they came out with the next one, and there was maybe bigger changes year over year because they were really developing the technology. But then as the technology kind of settled down and it was all kind of figured out, well, year over year, from an iPhone 12 to an iPhone 13, it's not really a big deal. They'll throw in more software enhancements because they're easier to achieve than some sort of engineering breakthrough with screen or CPU or GPU or sensor, something like that, right? So I think as a consumer, your best bang for your buck is always, wait a couple years. I got the Mini 2 and then I went up to the Mini 4 Pro or something.
Right.
And then I get this really good bang for my upgrade buck. But, as consumers, that's tough to do because you get pretty excited about new stuff, right?
The RC2 is superb to the RC though. I mean, as far as range and
And that kind of irritated me with the RC because I mean it was great. Now they have a smart controller that's affordable.
Yeah.
But it was underpowered, like for sure. It's slow.
No question.
And then they came out with the RC2 really quick, and I'm like,
They took the antennas off, then they put them right back on. So they knew, they tried.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's still not compatible with the RC Pro though, right, Marcus? I mean, does it look like the
Nope.
Air 3 or
Not that I'm aware of. I'll tell you though, I'm going to say that RC2 is so good.
it is?
I don't know if I need an RC Pro. I'll be honest with you.
I probably will never buy another RC Pro. That DJI RC2 is such a good controller.
Ron, never say never.
You never say never. Well, I'll say. How about if I say it for the rest of the week or something?
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I could take it off your hands for $50. I'm just saying.
Well,
You back there. Yeah.
yeah. Hey, now get back to the Mini. Now, I know Steve, you do quite a bit of outdoor hiking, backpacking, photography out in the woods, wilderness, so on the trails, and having a mini drone is very important to you because I'm sure the weight of your gear that you're going to carry on your back is one of the key issues to be able to go higher and go further on these hikes. Is that pretty much correct?
Well, and that was that was the primary reason I bought my Spark in the first place, right? Because until we had the Spark, we had the drones were huge. All those Phantom guys were just ridiculous. And then even the Mavics were pretty large. And I got a tiny hydration pack on my back. And the Spark was like, okay, this is perfect. It's kind of a good price point and it's portable. And the Spark was like just tough, the toughest drone you could ever imagine, right?
Oh, it was a little tank.
So, absolutely, flying tank, right? Yeah. And so I could just jam that into my bag and not worry about it, and pop it out, get a couple shots, go home happy, right? So that kind of got me on the smaller, the drones, right? Smaller guys.
Yeah, nobody wants to hike up a mountain with a Phantom in a backpack.
The Spark was like four mini. I mean, the weight, it was heavy.
But
it was compact though. But
yeah, it was compact. I love
heavy,
the
Spark. But it's surprising. I like wingspan. It's so tiny still.
Yeah.
It's incredibly tiny. And I was kind of like a little bit cranky when the 3 Pro came out because I had this goofy little case that fit my Mini 2 and a controller and extra batteries all fit in there. And the Mini 3 Pro comes out and I can't get my RC and the Mini 3 Pro in. Like it just got a little bit bigger. And I'm like, whoa, let's not get carried away here, guys. This is the Mini.
New case, yeah.
Yeah. But
hey, Marcus, can you confirm one way or the other whether the Mini 4 Pro fits in the same cases that the Mini 3 would fit in?
Ron, we can do that. We can do that right now. So let me grab my Mini 3 case. I have not tried it. So it'll take me just a second. You go ahead.
Go right ahead, and we'll go to the next subject. And one of the things, Marcus received his Mini 4 Pro last week. He got a chance to fly it over the weekend. He's talked about this a little bit with Tanya Gale. And I have a link here to his very first flight video that he made out the Snake Canyon. And it was a terrific initial flight and actually much more successful than his Mini 1 flight out the canyon on the first
Mini
time
2.
around.
Wrong case.
You got too many. Hey, that's what happens. You got too many drones.
You need a label maker.
Yeah, Marcus has his label maker. He's got so many drones though. His label maker's running behind.
Mini 3. Okay, so what you're wanting to know?
It will fit in the Mini 3 case.
Yeah, if the Mini 4 will fit in the Mini 3 case. So let me see if I can get it here where you guys can see it. I don't know if I can and hold the case and show it to you.
Yeah, it's tough
at the same time, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yes. Now, Johnny, I
glitter.
wonder if that'll fit in some of the custom cut Start RC Mini 3 Pro cases.
I don't know. Morgan, send me that drone. I'll try it. You know, try
I
it.
bet you will. I'll just bet you will, Mr. Johnny.
I mean, I could shove the V cop in there. You know.
Well, so a lot of people are saying that the cases are different sizes, but I mean, I don't know.
Looks pretty similar.
Yeah, it looks
One looks bigger than the other. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it has more stuff in it.
Yeah.
Marcus, we have a thing here. You kind of covered this a little bit, but maybe you have any final thoughts on what are Marcus's impressions of the new Mini 4 and how does it compare with the Mini 3? You have a little list going, right?
I do, Ron. I am going to present here, and I want to put it up on the
We'll get you on the big
here.
screen.
Yep, share screen, and see if I can. I might have to. Well, let's see if I can share the window.
Steve, do you expect your Mini 4 Pro to arrive this week?
It's supposed to come on the 5th.
So that's it's this week. Okay.
Thursday, I think.
Okay, there we go. We got your full screen. I'm going to get rid of the comment here. There you go. This spreadsheet here provided by the Idaho Quadcopter Network.
Yeah, no, I was messing around.
If you want copies of it, just send $5 into DroneNation.
Yeah, no, because listen, we're always trying to quantify these things, right? It's just like Steve was talking about earlier that you know the Mini 4 came along so quickly after the Mini 3. Well, what really does it bring to the table? At first, we kind of looked at it and said, well, not so much, same sensor, etc. Well, there's more to it. Listen, I am a huge fan. That omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, I've got to where my Air 3 and my Mavic 3, I'm not afraid to fly them anywhere. And I do. I fly them between trees and it's with the confidence that omnidirectional OA has given me. And now this guy's got it too.
Marcus, I feel that's one of the strongest upgrades on the Mini 4.
I think that's one of the big features. The trace feature. Now, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to
trying. You did try it in that video, but you didn't have much luck.
Well, I didn't have time to mess with it, right?
Yeah,
I was trying I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how to use it. So I didn't want to waste a bunch of time while I was trying to follow that boat. And I do know the focus track system very well. So that's what I used, and it worked out pretty good, I thought. But anyway, the cruise control feature is that's just another huge thing. If you can set the drone on a path, and then you're focused on the camera or whatever you're doing, I think that's a helpful thing. Video waypoints, that's not a big deal to me, although I know it's a huge feature for a lot of people. This next one is a big deal. The 1080p 60 frames per second FPV feed. That feed that you get on the RC2 looks phenomenal. And that helps you frame a shot, helps you you don't realize the difference till you fly an older drone and you see a less resolution screen. It makes a big difference.
That's a good point. I even feel like I'm getting better video when it looks better on the screen.
When it looks better on your FPV
anything,
screen.
But you just feel like you're doing better. You're filming better.
Yeah, and then the high dynamic range video that you can now shoot in 60 frames per second, and I don't know, you guys can argue with me on this one, but I like 60 frames per second, especially in a turn. It looks smoother to my eye. I know about motion blur. I know all that stuff. I'm just saying it looks better to my eye, and so that's why I do it.
And I like the fact that this drone is not capped at 30 frames per second to do all the other intelligent features were all capped at 30 on the previous drone, where this now, this unlocks everything to work at 4K 60.
That's exactly right. It's just like what Steve was talking about earlier. All those gotchas at the bottom of the screen are gone now. You can do them all in 60 frames. All the intelligent flight modes, zooming, all of that stuff, you can now do all in 60 frames per second. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Then the OS4 transmission, you know what? It's just better and better signal penetration. I'll bet you Steve's in the same boat. I'm often shooting through the trees. I'm on the Boise River or something like that, and that's the hardest thing for transmission is shooting through trees, and stronger is better.
Yeah.
And
to
then
me, Mark, the two big ones to me were the omnidirectional OA and the O4. They're the two ones that really
Absolutely.
has started to swing me over.
yeah, it depends on what you. So the and then of course we beat the RC2 controller to death and talked about, and I'll get back into that on my other side, my observations. But then the night mode feature, I don't do a lot of shooting at night. I know some people do, but it helps with that. Again, this next one, 4K 100 frames per second. I don't know how often with an aerial camera are you shooting using slow motion. I don't think it's going to be that often, but if you want it, it's there. The next one absolutely has nothing to do with me because I shoot an MP4, but 10-bit D-Log, M, and HLG. I'm sure, Ron, for you and Steve, I'm sure that's probably more important. But DJI, in their stuff, they talk about next gen image processing, and you can see it. And then the dual native ISO fusion. And Steve, you need to help me with that one. That probably helps with those low light situations, correct?
Yeah, it's it's really quite interesting. Well, it helps for HDR, right? That's where you get that native on chip HDR, because it's basically able to process the same image at two different ISO gains at the same time simultaneously, right? So you could have the image coming in at ISO 100 or ISO 100 and ISO 800 or ISO 400 at the same time. So you've got your instant HDR right there, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the one of the coolest features of that sensor, right? And that's gonna that unlocks your night vision as well, like your night mode.
And that's kind of your understanding of that. Now I know what HDR is, but you understand why it happens with dual native ISO. So yeah,
it's really just you just think about it. I don't know. I kind of visualize in my head. It's kind of just two streams, and one's being processed at a higher ISO, right? That's really all it is. And normally you'd be taking that signal and you'd be amplifying it to move up to make it brighter. But every time you amplify, you're adding more noise. So when you have a secondary channel that can process it at a higher ISO without adding all that noise, you get a nice clean signal that's been sort of natively amplified without adding all that.
That makes sense.
We don't want. I think that's the coolest thing, right? It's so incredible, and that's probably only going to get better. It'll go from dual native to triple native, and then you'll be like, okay, these things will see in the dark, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is funny. Like Mark, it's like your list there. It's like I said, Mini 4 Pro wasn't even on my radar, and then I did a video on just kind of the sort of similar to what you've done here, and I'm like, yeah, geez, this does offer a lot. It is actually quite a big leap from the previous one. Even if they didn't have the omnidirectional, it's still a pretty good boost, right? So
the video. I mean, the transmission is the OS4 is just
and. Sorry, like Marcus said, like I'm always in the sticks. I'm always like I'm in a valley, I'm on the mountains, I'm in trees all the time. And 20 kilometers doesn't matter to me, but a rock solid signal does.
Yeah.
So if that's what this means, then yes.
Yeah.
Count me.
So then the other side of the list here, these are just my observations. So, you can consider them somewhat subjective. Now, I don't know that it has a faster CPU. I didn't see that statistic anywhere or in the specifications anywhere. However, I do know that because it can, back to what Ron was saying and Steve were saying, it'll do all that stuff at a higher frame rate. And so that's it. And the other thing I noticed with the Mini 3, I would get some frame dropping while shooting in 60 frames per second, to the point that I never used 60 frames per second on the Mini 3. I always used 30. just because it synced up better and matched better.
Marcus, 3 or 3 Pro? Are you talking 3 or 3 Pro?
Oh, 3 Pro, I meant to say.
Okay.
I should have said
Yeah.
3 Pro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they have, I think they have the exact same camera in them, right?
They do. So I don't know that there would be. Well, I'm trying to remember if the 3. Does the 3 even shoot in 60 frames? I don't remember, Ron, right off the top of my head.
Yeah, it may
Marcus
not.
is the only person in the community that actually owns the Plain Jane Air 3.
I got them all. There's not a DJI Mini drone you won't find back here. Anyway, the next one, the RC2, and of course we found that out when the Air 3 came out. The touch screen is so much more responsive. There's no lag. It's faster, and it feels more precise. And then we already talked about the video feed. Number 4, and I don't know if you guys saw this with your Mini 3 Pro, but I'm Dr. Auto, so I always have it in autofocus. But what I would find is that it would lag pretty badly. It would have to be, particularly if I often do a droney for my first shot. So boy, it looks really good when I have it close to me. I get some nice bokeh behind me and all that. And then I take off with the drone and everything's out of focus till it's out there for a ways. Then all of a sudden you'll see it autofocus.
And that mostly occurred in 60 frames per second for you, correct?
It was more apparent in 60, although I also saw it in 30. This guy, I don't see any of that. It seems to focus instantly.
That's a super good point, actually, and that makes me happy because the Mini 3 Pro used to drive me nuts. Most of the time I would set it to the mountain setting, which is infinity. Because otherwise it would just the focus would lag, and it would make me so mad because I'd have this perfect shot, and then it's out of focus. And I'm a little bit like my computer, is it out of focus? It's like, yeah, it's out of focus. It's driving me crazy. So that's
nothing you can do to fix out of focus.
Dude, I was going nuts there for a while. So what I started doing is I'd always have my finger on that camera, the half press to get it to autofocus.
Autofocus. Too much to remember.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like to your point, when you're flying, you're framing the shot and you're looking at what you're doing. You know.
So many times I get caught in, like, I'm thinking about composition. I'm trying to avoid obstacles. I'm trying to make sure my exposure looks good. And if I have to focus too, it's like, oh my God, right? It's just it's too much.
Yeah. So this next one is really subjective, and that is it. Man, I don't know. It seems to be more athletic. It is no faster. It doesn't ascend any faster or descend any faster, but it just felt to me like it responded faster to control inputs, and it seemed like it accelerated faster. That could be totally in my brain, so I want to throw that out there. It could be my fantasy, but it's how it seemed. And again, I thought that the video output, it definitely looked better. There's no question in my mind, it looked better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's my list.
I'm
sticking to
Marcus.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
Comments, shoot them down.
Yeah. And we'll skip on to number 8. Our friend Igor over on the Twitter is now known as X. He released some more Pocket 3 leaks over the weekend, where he even shows a real close shot of the bigger screen on the Pocket 3 kind of sticks out. And then he's another Pocket thing where he had like a shot from a different angle. So when the pictures get better, that usually means the product's closer to coming out. Steve, do you have you ever owned the DJI Pocket camera?
No, I haven't. Chuck. Do you get Chuck?
Yeah, Chuck Kovac.
Yeah. He uses them all the time, and they look pretty impressive. But no, I don't have it. No.
Yeah. I own the Pocket 2, and even though I think it's an almost 3-year-old device come this November, it's still a very capable camera. And I have the creator's kit with it, and it has like a little wireless mic to it. But you can clip on. You don't have to sync it up. Once you sync up the first time, it's no. You just clip it up and just turn it on. It works every time. So that's great for getting some audio out in the field.
DJI is kind of crushing it, right? They're pretty clever with their products, because even you think about the Pocket 3, well, it's basically like a drone gimbal in different in a handheld mount. Probably same sensors, same software inside, a lot of the similar components. It's brilliant. Like, it's genius, right? They're just
it needed a
so
bigger
good at-
screen, and that's the bigger screen is definitely going to help that pocket.
Yeah, I mean the Pocket, the Pocket 1, Pocket 2 is big as
Yeah, it's little.
because the screen is so small. It's a touch screen, but it's hard to use as a touch screen.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the frame in the shop. But you can hook your phone up to it. But once you hook your phone up to it, now it's no longer a pocketable device. It's kind of a big device or whatever. And you get to the point, well, I might as well shoot this. If I got my phone out, I might as
just
well
walk
shoot
around
on
with
the phone.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Hey, I can't. I got to answer Lon in the chat here. Lon is saying, "Oh God, the Pocket 3, what a waste of money." Lon, you're not a video vlogger, dude. That's obvious. People like Ron and I and Steve would probably use it. I don't know about Johnny. You don't talk to the camera that much, but
No, I like the action too for that. But yeah, no, I can see how it's definitely. I mean, I love it. I use it. I'm walking around like this most of the time on vacation or something.
yeah.
Well, and that's an awesome point, Marcus, because like the quality of these things are so good. Like I shoot all my major shots, like my videos and stuff. If I'm sitting in front of the camera, I'm shooting with Canon ESR, right? So mirrorless camera. I've got like 3 of them, but they're a total pain in the ass to use in the field, right? Like the Pocket 3s, those types of cameras are so good now. The quality is almost indistinguishable, and it makes our lives, if you're doing that kind of stuff, so much easier.
I'm
Like,
sure
really,
we'll get
like-
the same. We'll get the same stacked or non-stacked sensor on the Pocket 3 as we're getting on the Air 3.
Oh, you know it is.
And-
It's the same one over 1.3.
Yeah, the same one
I
again.
know,
So you know it's going to look good. And when you're out in the field, the thing about the Pocket is, a lot of people walk around with GoPro style cameras now, or action. They people know what action cameras are, so they kind of still know you're filming. Maybe give you a look, but you walk around with that little Pocket. No, the common person. Nobody knows what a Pocket is. They have no idea that you're filming or doing anything. They don't even know what you have in your hand. So you can really be kind of like, unnoticeable when you're filming with a Pocket, because people know what a phone looks like. People know what an action camera looks like. But nobody
So
knows
Ron, answer me this: you have you live in the shore in New Jersey. They must have a topless beach. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, that's the secret spot number 2. Only Ray Kelly has the map to that spot.
Rob, don't try to go to Topless Beach with the Avada though.
Buzzing.
Hey, anyway, Lon is also saying, Lon is hit me up in the chat. He's saying, you can't BS me. I use action cameras. Yes, I use the DJI Action 2. However, when that Pocket 3 comes out, I'm going to get it. And I'll tell you why, Lon, because I'm not going to have to worry about that thing overheating. So often what I do is that camera goes on a tripod and sits in front of me while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And it might be on for a half an hour or maybe even longer than that, where I'm worried about the action camera heating up and shutting down. At least Ron is telling me that his Pocket 2 is never overheated.
Because I'm also the guy that doesn't have much overheating with the GoPro. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
But I think Ron does everything. Ron does everything in one take. They're never on long enough to overheat.
Yeah. I'll make it really. But I think the thing Marcus will really like about a Pocket 2, the creators combo, is now with you want to record audio, you don't have to hook the receiver up and whatever. All you do is just put the little thing on your, snap the mic on your thing, and it just automatically syncs up to the Pocket. You don't have to hook up the other part of it and make sure it's working right and all that. It's a seamless audio recording. Which, of course, we don't get that with the action cameras. You have to take the time to mount the receiver part and make sure it's working.
I'm going to throw one more little caveat in there on that, Ron. One of the things that I have learned, and I've learned this lesson the hard way, is that even if I use the receiver on my action camera when I'm using the DJI mic, I also record directly to the transmitter so that I have backup audio.
That is a good point. And you won't have that you didn't have that built in the Pocket 2. Who knows about the Pocket 3?
Right.
So Lon said a phone gimbal is just as good these days. And it is, Lon. It may actually be even better for video quality, but it's a big rig compared to the Pocket 2. It's a much larger rig.
And Lon, if I'm flying my Mini 2 or my Air 2S or something, and I'm using this guy, how am I going to have it on a gimbal? So there you go, Lon. Oh, you're selling me 2 phones? Is that what you're telling me, Lon? Okay. I got an Android too.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Fly with the Androids that won't overheat. But anyhow, we don't have any specs or price in the Pocket 3. Just more pictures are appearing. So hopefully it's close to being released. The rumor was it was going to come out in October sometime. So maybe not now, but we'll see. Okay, one last topic here, and we'll let everybody go for the night. We're getting near the 10:30 mark here. Our friend of the show, Richard, SSB, some number. He's in the chat there. I saw him earlier. This is news everybody needs to know. He reports that he got the Holy Stone remote ID module, the one that sells for about $59 on Amazon, the cheap one. You got it too?
Right there it is.
Marcus has it. So, but Richard reports that it doesn't see the broadcast as signal that any of his remote ID apps can see. Like it's several of those apps, but he can have it right beside it, and it does not broadcast a signal to his apps. So he's not sure that it's working. Now he's been in contact with Holy Stone, and I think he even ordered the second module in case maybe his first module is defective. So he's still testing them out, and I'll report back to you in the next episode.
It won't work on Apple, I believe.
John.
Yeah, make your point, John. That's important.
Yeah, I think right now it only works on Android, is to my understanding. It will not work on an Apple device.
Yeah, right. That's what we hear. And I think Richard is on Android.
So let me also say that what the FAA says about that module is that you cannot take off till you get the green light that says it's transmitting. You know what? If you've got the green light on that transmitter, what do you care how far away it's transmitting or whatever? You're legal then, so just fly.
That's the one you want that's transmitting like
the one that doesn't see much, or doesn't broadcast very good.
Yeah, my point is that the FAA just says you got to have that green light that says
right. It's not our responsibility for it to,
right.
And the device has been approved by the FAA, so if it doesn't work correctly, they should have figured that out when they were approving it. So
there you go.
So anyhow, we'll see. Lonzo, he's a big fan of Holy Stone. But in this case, Lon, for a lot of people, they'll be happy that they produced a crappy product. In fact, maybe Fimi should make some remote ID modules.
There you go.
So, So that's kind of it for the topics tonight. We'll go around the panel, see if anybody has any closing thoughts before we let you go for tonight. Steve, is anything you want to talk about tonight that we didn't bring up, or anyone elaborate on some of the points we made that we didn't finish your thoughts on?
I don't know. I was curious, actually, Johnny. There, you're flying with what you said, the goggles too?
The Integra goggles.
Oh, goggles Integra.
Yeah,
and the little. That little
Motion 2
with your Mini 3 Pro,
Mini 3 Pro and the Air 3. Yeah,
the Air 3 just got the update almost the same day that the Mini 4 Pro came out. Later that day, a big firmware update came out that put that feature for the first time on the Air 3, and also
and I would think it will be available
for home features to the Air 3.
It'll be available for the Mini 4 Pro. I would think that's probably one of the first updates. I would guess.
Yeah, like I've been toying with the idea. Like, I did a review on those the drone mask, like earlier this year, and it's like I went in with limited expectations, and it was actually pretty good, and it really sort of whet my appetite for FPV type stuff. And it's like, this is actually a really fun way to fly. And the Avata has been very tempting, except that takes me over 250 grams. Yeah. So I was toying with the idea of the goggles and stuff. But I don't know. I
mean, Steve, let me put your fears to rest. I've never tried the drone mask, but these Integra goggles, and I'm sure the goggle 2s are just, I think they're even better. But once you put those goggles on, I mean, I can see clearer than I can when I don't use them with my glasses. I just put the diopters in it, match my thing. I can see better. I can see better with those goggles on than wearing my glasses. So I'm seeing better than ever with those things on. And you hear a lot of stuff about them not fitting right and light leaking in or whatever. hitting your nose wrong. I mean, maybe I have the perfect skull, but I've seen none of those issues or whatever.
Ron, in our eyes, you are perfect.
No,
Yeah,
but it's fun. It's fun. It's a different experience, and I mean, it might not be for everybody, but it's definitely something different, you know. And but the Vada, and you know, is totally different than flying that the Mini 3 Pro, all that Air 3, of course, you know.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, Steve, I want to catch up real quick. Richard corrected me. The remote ID module from Holy Stone's $47. So back to you, Steve. I just wanted to get that point across. I didn't want to give somebody the wrong price.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So, but I always like to hear from the guys who are actually using them, you know. And but I was kind of hopeful. I don't know. I heard some rumor way back that maybe there was going to be a sub 250 FPV from DJI, and I'm sort of waiting. I'm kind of waiting for Nevada too, and I'm hoping it's gonna, you know, get
That'll be next Monday, 2 Mondays from now.
Yeah, we'll get you back on the show when that thing comes out, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, do you have your Canadian basic license?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Well, I don't think I am gonna get it, and I know I would have to get a special flight operations certificate to fly anything over sub 250. But you know, I've got a lot of friends in Canada, so I want to be able to go up and fly when I go up there. So anyway, just saying.
Yeah. Do you guys have to do like we have to do logging? We have to like flight logs, maintenance logs. Do you guys have to do that too?
Part 107, you do. Yeah.
Part 107 you do.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's just like for like when I'm doing run and gun and just going out having fun. It's just too much. I don't want to do that. It's so easy
Imagine you had to log every time you took your real camera out and used the shot.
Well, sorry, Ron. What was that?
Imagine if you had to log every time you took your Canon or something out and took photos.
Right? Yeah, I wouldn't use it.
So let me ask you this, Steve: are the records that on your DJI flight logs, do those count as a flight record, or?
I don't know. They say you can maintain electronic records. A friend of mine up here in Canada, Don Joyce, he's on YouTube as well, and he does.
I know Don. He's a big channel.
Yeah, he does all the regs and stuff.
Regulation
he
videos.
actually built an app that you can have on your phone, and you can just punch in electronic records when you're doing it, which would make it much simpler than I used to just carry a paper logbook, which was
a pain.
You know, a pain. It's a pain either way, right?
Yeah.
But
Air data,
yeah.
A lot of people use air data. I was trying to think of the name of that app. I know.
I don't know if that would be acceptable in Canada. Probably, maybe. I mean, I guess it is a record has all your flight.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I got a friend in Calgary he uses air data.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's legit.
Yeah. Well, that's what he uses.
Marcus, Gary's answering your question, Chad. He said the flight logs are okay as flight records in Canada.
Well, what does Gary know? I mean, he's lives in the GTA.
Gary's smart enough to come to the South Florida drone meetup.
He does. He loves. Gary lives up by Toronto, so.
You know, like I have yet to hear of someone ever getting tagged for anything like that. So you have to be pretty stupid to. Well, there was like that.
Yeah, if they need
there was that guy. There was my guy in Ottawa who got actually nailed. I don't know if that's the same guy this guy's talking about. This fellow's.
I don't think Billy got in trouble over the weekend.
Yeah.
If they need to look at your flight logs, you're already in trouble. You know?
Yeah.
So Billy made a point in that video that he just did. He flew the mini drone so that he would be legal, right, in Canada. But he does have his Canadian basic license. But to his point was, it was a quick trip. So he was going to have to apply for that special flight operations certificate. And he just didn't have enough time to do it. So he didn't take the bigger drones. He just flew the mini drone. Whereas, conversely, Steve, if you came down to the U.S., $5 on the FAA website, and you could fly whatever drone you wanted.
Right.
$5 US, that's like 18 Canadian dollars, though.
Whoa, I didn't even think of that.
Really, that's it. That's all you have to do. Pay your little thing, and you can
register on the FAA drone zone, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnny, any final thoughts or things you want to discuss? Well, I know one final thought. You got a show come up on Wednesday night, and I did Johnny dirty on this. He's got me announced as a guest along with Bill, and I'm going out for a birthday dinner that night, so I'm gonna have to take a rain check on the show.
You
So
go
totally
out. You
my
go,
fault. Don't blame Johnny. I'm the one. I'm the one who did him dirty or whatever. So
let me text Susan and get on her.
I'm gonna have to wear a Johnny Drone Flyer cap and shirt on my next 10 videos to make up for it.
You enjoy that day. Don't worry about that. Have fun. It's your birthday.
I'm hoping to get a famous YouTube channel and maybe take my place or whatever.
I think
guys out west someplace flies a lot around canyons.
Yeah, we'll get that guy that flies over that big hole.
They haven't asked me yet, so how do you know?
Well, we're negotiating with your people.
Okay.
No, hey guys, it's a great time of year. Morgan's it's fall, great time of year to fly. Get out there and fly. Look, and don't worry about the newest and best. Just fly what you got and have fun.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny.
So I want to pile on to what Johnny just said. Man, we're getting into the fall time when the leaves are changing, and you are going to get some phenomenal video.
Yeah.
So, I could take that little original Mavic Mini out behind me there and go out and fly it and get some really cool video this fall. So like Johnny said, don't worry about what you got. If you got something like this guy or your original Mavic Pro, just get out there, or your old Phantom. I don't care.
Hey,
Get
wait,
out there and fly.
are you at Lauren Donour's house?
I see your point. Yeah, I get your point.
Somebody in the comments said, "They look at all those drone cases behind Marcus."
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple back there. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Plus, the weather's nice this time of year, right? It's not too hot.
Absolutely.
It's not too cold. So this is drone flying season. So get out there and do it.
I say it too. I went out there early this morning, flew in like below 65-degree weather in the morning. I even flew a drone that required using my phone, and I didn't overheat or whatever. So it is a great time to be flying. My fall colors haven't started to change yet. I'm still about a month away because it's a little bit warmer down here at the Jersey Shore than up north. And of course, Johnny's leaves probably don't change until January down there.
We got mostly pine trees, so we don't get a lot of color.
Yeah, he's mostly green all year round. But yeah, so this has been a show, probably a bad show for me. I've heard so much good talk about the Mini 4. I'm trying to resist, but you all Star Trek fans and whatever at the Borg, resistance is futile.
That's fact.
So I may have to check under the couch cushions and find a few shekels, see if I can round up enough money to get one of those little minis coming my way here. But yeah, I want to thank everybody who joined us in chat. We had a lot of great people out there, a lot of great comments. Everybody wished me a happy birthday in chat. Thank you so much. I want to give a special thanks to Steve, who joined us on the panel tonight. Steve, when you get your Mini 4 Pro and you've got some, hands-on time with it, would you come back on the show and give us your impressions once you've been able to put it through its paces? Sure,
absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I would.
Love to have you back and get your thoughts on it. Get the Canadian thought on the drone here. So, and I also want to give a big special thanks to Johnny for filling DeMarco Ward's big shoes tonight, making that big pick for him and everything.
Yeah, Seattle was up 14-3. So,
and don't forget Fly for Fun on Wednesday night. They're going to have Bill, the drone review, and an unknown guest or whatever. But it's still going to be a great show, anyways. And of course, Marcus for always being the co-host with me, being the rock of the show here, and so on. So good night, everyone. I think like everybody's been saying, get out and fly while the weather's good. If before you know it, the snow will be falling and you'll be stuck inside all winter. So get out there. Well, not in Hammond. Once it gets too cold to fly where you are, take a road trip down to Hammond. Johnny will show you. Johnny will take you down the swamp and let you fly.
Yep.
So
watch out for gators.
That's a T-shirt. Go down to the swamp and fly. So
Captain Joe and I'll take care of you.
There you go. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you back next Monday night. Who knows? A new drone could be out.